What up, you guys? Welcome to Open View, where we exchange our perspectives to expand our view. Today, we have Daniel from Union Coffee here in Greensboro. And I like to start these podcasts off every time with, what was your first sip? I think it's interesting that some people either remember it or don't. I don't remember mine. I could say I've always drank coffee, or it's always been around me. My grandparents drank it, my aunts and uncles drank it, my parents start their day with it. But I think after college, I got over Starbucks and I went into a random local cafe and I was like, wow, this is completely different from the experience of the level of care and attentiveness the baristas gave, and then just the coffee in general. It just had a very unique taste to it. And then I realized it came from specialty coffee. So that's kind of how I fell into it. I don't know exactly what year that started, but I do remember coming to Union and that experience. But what was your first sip?
Mine would have been, growing up as a kid, my dad would always make 3 pots of coffee a day.
Dang, that's a lot of coffee.
It was a lot. And then I don't remember around exactly what age, but I was pretty young. He would allow me to start drinking coffee, but it was always Folgers, 50% Folgers, 5 spoons of sugar, and
Jesus.
then 50% French vanilla creamer.
So it was everything with a splash of coffee.
Yeah, it was more like dessert.
Dessert,
yeah.
Yes. Multiple desserts.
So if you can count that as coffee, that would have been my first coffee experience.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, I don't remember where along the pathway that things started to transition. I always loved coffee, but I never necessarily had a specific, I didn't put a lot of time or effort into what bags I was getting, what kind of beans I was getting.
Same.
Like that. I enjoyed it, but then interestingly enough, had this opportunity to be in coffee.
Yeah.
And then from that experience is really where everything started.
Right.
Now I've been blessed to have hundreds of different coffees, but that journey's been a long journey from the 50-50 Folgers and French vanilla creamer all the way
sugar,
to what we're doing now.
So what was that unique experience that allowed us to experience Union Coffee that it is today? So what was the start there for Union Coffee? Take us all the way back.
Yeah. I was in finance prior to coffee.
Okay.
Had worked my way all the way from teller at a bank all the way to my last job in finance was data and risk analytics for Truliant, which is way further from what I do now.
Right. Super far removed.
Yeah, not related.
None.
But my wife and I had moved to Greensboro in 2017. We made some friends, got part of some different communities, and I got presented an opportunity to potentially help spearhead a coffee project through a nonprofit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so at the time I was like, I love coffee.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about starting a coffee shop.
Right.
I had never worked in coffee. And so the idea was super intriguing because I love entrepreneurship. I love business. I love what spaces like this can
create.
Bring people together. So I was intrigued, but initially I was like, I don't think now's the time. I don't think that this season. We just bought our first house.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
the
job was good. But kept having some conversations about it. And eventually I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll start doing some research, looking into what it would take.
Right.
If doors open, great. If they don't, great.
Yeah.
So what do you do from there when you don't know anybody and you don't know anything about coffee? You just start cold emailing anybody who's in coffee. Yeah. So I shot out probably 50, 60 emails to any shop. Didn't matter if I could drive to it. Then I hit the website, be like info at whatever. Right. See who responded. And James Yoder from Not Just Coffee was one of the first people to respond to me.
Oh,
said,
cool.
Hey, come down to Charlotte. I'll give you 15 minutes of my time. Tell you my story. I wasn't really looking for any how-tos, more just to hear people's story.
Right.
What their journey was like. Because everybody's journey is going to be different. Nothing's cookie cutter.
Of course.
You can piece different people's experiences and then figure out what nuggets are there for you.
Right.
Went down to Charlotte, met with him. He was really great, generous. He connected me with somebody else who connected me with somebody else. Got connected with the guys at Hex. They were incredible, and then ultimately ended up getting referred to Lim and Kyle at Black and White. Drive out to Wake Forest. This is in early 2018.
Wow, okay.
They had just started Black and White. They were fresh off some National Barista Championships, which I didn't know anything about, but
I'm still dabbling and understanding what barista competition is like. So
and a big thing along the journey was like, if we were going to do this, I didn't want to partner with somebody that we would just be another one of like 100 or who knows, 200 shops.
Yeah, you didn't want to be a number.
I wanted to take pride in what we did and ultimately have that relationship be beneficial. And so that's where the Black and White partnership ended up being incredible timing, because they were looking for cafes to
wholesale partnerships,
give them opportunity on the shelf, and they had clearly knew everything about coffee. So
seriously,
not everything, but
a good amount,
way more than me. And so we just started talking, and once that door opened, it really made it seem like, okay, if they're going to provide the foundation for executing coffee well, I feel confident that we can provide the foundation from the business and cultural aspect of it. Fast forward later that year, we ended up agreeing, quit my career, dropped my income, lost the insurance. My wife and I had to sell the house. We moved to a studio apartment downtown.
That's a lot of transition.
It was a gnarly season, no doubt. But and then it was off to the races. We opened in November 2018. And then from that journey, it's been a beautiful experience. We had 1 year open, and then COVID hit. And so your second year in business is in third, really, since that. And then early 2020, the nonprofit had decided to go a different direction, provided me an opportunity to continue this project myself. And so I had an opportunity to fully purchase Union at that point. And so that has been a full year as of March of this year. So we just passed it.
Oh, and, congrats.
The journey just keeps
evolving. It's crazy to hear the succession of like Union Coffee, like as far as it being like an idea, something you heavily researched, and just being the networking. One thing that I've learned getting into learning about the coffee community beyond just being a customer is the community is like the heart of coffee right now. Like it's not necessarily like who you know, but the relationships that come from that. It sounds like the people that you connect with in Charlotte reached out to the people that were in Raleigh, and they were like, hey, you're great. We match in value and core and expectations here. And let's see what we can do here. I love the openness for that, because even for me starting this podcast, that was kind of like some cold DMs. I was like, hey, you guys, like, I want to learn more about coffee. I want to showcase local coffee shops. Like, is that open? And from everybody that I reached out to, especially even you yourself, like, y'all are definitely open to the idea, which is great. It's good for us people here that are tuned in and are able to learn more about the history behind Union, the purpose, the goals that you guys are going for, and where you're planning to go with it. So I know with Black and White, they have like 3 core values, and they try to make sure that people that they do partnerships with also have those. And you obviously qualify because you're still doing it. So what are your core values at Union Coffee?
Yeah, so our pillars that we have here are also 3. Value, purpose, and excellence are what is our entire foundation of how we operate. For us, value, at the end of the day, we're not trying to be the best. We're not trying to serve the best coffee and do everything that we can to be at the top of the market to be the best.
Right.
We're doing it as a reflection of our value for people. And so that's a big cultural thing for our team, and something that I have to lead from the top down.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, from the value aspect, like if we're homies and you come in and I take a lot of time on you, make you really cool coffee, have a great conversation, and then I don't know the next customer that well and I just whip something together, it's still gonna taste great because like we have our stuff together, we have a great product. But at the end of the day, I'm ultimately telling the next person that I don't value them to the same level that I value you.
Right, exactly.
Why do we keep the space clean and keep it swept, or the bathrooms clean, or the windows there? Not because I asked for it to be done, because at the end of the day, it's a reflection of our value for the people that are coming in to experience this space. You know?
Exactly.
Like we were talking about, if somebody's going to come over to my home, I'm going to make sure it's clean, nice, presentable. And it's very similar to here. Like we want to create a space where people feel cared for and valued at every single touch point along the way. I don't know that I would say that we're there yet. It's like constant pursuit, but ultimately that's a big piece. The purpose aspect for me is I've kind of found over the years that it's a lot harder for our staff and our team to align with a broader company purpose if they don't actually have purpose they're aligned with in their own life.
Understandable.
That can change season to season, but part of my job as a leader is to help cultivate and encourage and come alongside those individuals and what their ultimate goals are and why they wake up every day.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if they feel that investment in them, then they're going to be able to connect with our larger, broader company purpose.
Yes.
As a whole group.
Yeah.
Then excellence, it's not about perfection for us. It's just about a constant pursuit of excellence.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be different in their latte art. Everybody's going to be different in their years in the industry. But at the end of the day, we all can collectively pursue excellence.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit about our pillars and kind of how that goes in there. But the value piece is a really
big part of it.
Part of what we do.
It's a good start to it's like a trickle down effect to the purpose and excellence. For me, value, I felt that strongly when I first came here in 2019. My brother brought me in. He had come a couple of times. He chatted up with the baristas. I actually think he knew a few that were working there, but like even getting to know them on my personal visit, I was like, okay, cool. Like we homies. Like you giving me some good deets about the coffee and like we're vibing. And then like I had such a great experience when my brother hosted Christmas dinner that next year, the weekend before Christmas, I came and I was like, Mom and Dad, we gotta go to this coffee shop because I want to try their ginger snap latte. And we went, and like even my mom, like, you know, that's like generational gap there where like the people that are making it were not from the same like era or like environment that she was in, but she connected with them, like she talked about it. So like it was your value of like making the impact, like when people come in here, they're a guest, right? Mm-hmm. At first, but in order to be a customer, they have to like be invested in like what you're producing, either that be the environment or the coffee itself, and then they become a customer, and then that is that return there. And I think you guys do a really good job of meeting anybody where they are and like creating that space for them to feel comfortable and like learn about coffee, learn about Union, and become a part of Union's community, which is awesome. Why did you choose the name Union? Because I feel like I really get like the community vibe behind Union when I hear it, but like was that the intention when you chose Union Coffee, or was there any other like thought behind choosing the word Union as a coffee shop name?
I think for us, the definition is like a state of being united, and it's just a kind of a broader ethos to like what we hope to be part of, in not only what people's experience here, but our role in the city, our role as another business,
nice.
Our role here in downtown, our role when we leave as citizens of the city, outside, and just kind of, it's intertwined in all of that. And so it's just kind of a reminder about that we're all in it together at this point, and that none of us can do it on alone.
Yeah, definitely. It seems, and you're the union of being a part of it together. I think just your story behind how you guys started definitely like echoes that as well. So I like that you chose a word that represents your journey and the journey that you guys are continuing to go through with your expansion and building, because you guys now have this location and you guys are building a second location now. I think last year I saw a post where you guys did a cloud with some rain, and you were talking about report and like some rebranding, and I was thrown. I was like, "Is Union not Union anymore? Did it get bought out?" So could you expand on like Freeport? What is Freeport?
Yeah, it's a little ambiguous still.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
The mystery is part of the fun at the moment.
It is very fun.
But when I bought the company last year, there's some things looking forward, and I was visioning out, okay, like what's this next season for us? Where are we headed? There's a lot of things, there's a lot of foundation that we have, but there's a lot of things that I also wanted to continue to push the culture and the company and what we do forward. One of the just simple things at the beginning is we don't own the trademark to Union. There's a few different Union cafes around the country. And with that, like ultimately, if we wanted to expand, or if we wanted to have if we have broader or larger goals into the future, we didn't ever want that to be something that like became a stick point. And so myself and the team just started really visioning out kind of what we could do that could give us opportunity into the future to have a larger umbrella company that we do that allows us to do different things through coffee in some capacity.
Definitely.
Some of which that we have current goals for, some of which it just provides the platform to
the opportunity to do it.
New ideas or new creativity, new albums come up. It can all fit under like one holistic umbrella. So the story, I've been working on different names and ideas, and when like there's any name on there's word, you know, who knows how many words are out there.
Definitely.
Names, you can
combinations.
Where do you even start? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was just like looking for some inspiration, and I ended up going out. There was a Coffee Black event in Raleigh.
Okay.
They came, and I went out there with some of our team members, and one of the things that they were doing in Memphis was free pour overs once a week in their cafe to just create more of like this sense of community and conversation, and this bridge to get people, so people can experience without intimidation or without like, I'm going to spend $6 $8 bucks.
Exactly. Making it more accessible for people.
And in that moment, just that hearing that story, like that name free pour just like can't like, and I
locked in.
I text my wife and I was like placeholder, you know, and then slept on it, and then the next day it was still with me, and so I just started thinking about like what that means, and like, ultimately for us as a broader, if that's going to be the umbrella, I mean, there's all different nuances. Rain has this rejuvenating, life-giving, cleansing aspect to it that is really awesome. And there's also elements of like how, I mean, with coffee and water, and it's like, I mean, I can nerd out all the different areas, but what we want to do in the community, and like how we want to use coffee, and like for a really long time we have worked with the houseless community here and provided coffee and space for that community. We have goals to want to do like free mobile pop-up events in some capacities to create opportunity. We have ideas of like how we want to share coffee experiences here in the cafes as we do that with people. And there's a lot of just things that we're always brainstorming behind the scenes that this name just kind of encompass all of it. All of them.
Nice. I love that, how you came up with it and the meaning behind it, because it is a very it is like, to me, I think of a cloud can cover a lot of area. You could be like on the other side of town and you won't experience the rain, but when you're like, you cross over to the next street, you're experiencing the rain. So it's cool that you are expanding your vision to be able to cover a larger territory in either coffee or Greensboro in general. I love your heart for the community of Greensboro, because I think Greensboro is definitely like in between two big cities, right? Like, but it's like not the big city. But I think you're doing a good job of like really honing in that there's like a need here and there's a want to grow here, and you're fostering that. You're blending the two. So with your how you guys interact with the community now, what are you touched on some of them with your coffee events that you do now. How are you going to continue to like grow in that? Are you just going to, or you kind of touched into it already? How do you do that now? I guess, does people know, I didn't know you did a lot of community work beyond having your coffee shop. So actively, what are you guys doing now?
Yeah, I think it's changed over seasons. I mean, with COVID and then post-COVID, and like what's existing in the city, what's not. So it's been fluid in different seasons. We just try to always stay open to like, very conscious of where we're placed. We're right here in downtown, and what is in our proximity. And how we can utilize the resources and that we have to help benefit the community as a whole. And that, by the community, it means that anybody, no matter what your income or background or status or any of that might be, we just are always trying to be conscious of like what's in our sphere of influence. And we'll do the same with Rev. Like when that second cafe opens, that neighborhood in that area is different than here in downtown. It's going to have different needs. It's a different community. And so we're always talking on the back end of like how we can be very conscious of where we're placed, and come in and come alongside what already exists, and partner and figure out like how we can help continue to propel that community. So for us right now, a big focus moving forward is, at the end of the day, we're really trying to hone in on what I believe is our differentiating factor, and that is that value for people and their experience. I feel great about our execution for coffee, but there's a lot of people that can also execute coffee super well. There's a lot of people that have resources and tools and labs and things that like we just don't. That's not our gifting at the moment. At the moment, always going to get excellent coffee, but what we have been doing from the beginning and what we are doing now is executing that experience of value. And for us, it's this idea that we really want to be really good at what I believe is the one thing that never changes, and that's people's desire to be seen, to be cared for, and to feel a sense of belonging. And so I challenge our team, and what we're constantly thinking about is like, if that is our goal, how can we analyze every touch point from the moment you pull into the parking lot and park to your walk to the cafe, to your experience outside the cafe, to your experience when you first open the door, to every process along the way. How can we be unreasonable in our pursuit of wanting to ensure that everybody has an experience that they won't forget? Like at the end of the day, they might forget what their latte tastes like. They might forget what color the walls were. They might forget the name of the barista. But they're never going to forget how they felt
when they were there.
here.
Yeah, the presence they had when they were there. Understandable. So
yeah, that's a current focal point of ours. We're really trying to just
get
really
good at
break
that.
down every little piece of the experience, and our team is really bought into that and really behind that, and I've been extremely blessed. Like at the end of the day, what we do now wouldn't exist with just me. And so many people on our team, or our entire team, deserves so much credit for what Union and what that experience is. So little of that is actually me. And all of us working together towards a common goal. With bringing in different backgrounds and perspectives and experiences and figuring out how those can play in collectively to what we're doing. So
for Freeport, I love that you have thought of expansion beyond just like, I guess, just one coffee shop and multiplying the coffee shop in Greensboro, like, monopolizing Greensboro, because I feel like the growth for a barista is so limited. Once you get to like being a barista and then maybe like the shift lead and then becoming like the manager, like that's it. Like there's nothing else. It's one single pathway. And I think Freeport is going to give them a lot more mobility and access to like, use that creativity to be able to see what else they can do. And I love the openness that you have for other people's like walk of life and their experiences and being able to like see where they can utilize that. I guess for like staffing wise, like how do you, when you guys go throughout staffing, like if somebody shows interest in being a barista here, what are like the ways to evaluate if they meet the value criteria and purpose and excellence? Like, is it just, I guess, like your interview process, what is that like? Because when I was looking at some people's websites, they have like questionnaires like, what was your experience? Or like, what do you want to learn from in coffee? And I think that's interesting, a unique question to ask people in the interview process of a coffee shop. Like, what do you want to learn from? Like, I just want to make coffee, but like, what do you want to learn from? What do we do differently that you want to learn from us? Like that, or what do you want to show us that you can add to the team? So like, when you guys are looking staffing wise, what makes your staff a little bit more unique than other coffee shops?
Working in the corporate world before this and like never having owned my own business prior to starting this one, I didn't have a whole set of like, I hadn't done a lot of interviews or knew how to build a team or any of that kind of stuff. But I did know what my experience was in the corporate world and areas that I didn't feel were executed well, or areas where I saw over and over again employees being underappreciated and undervalued and not heard. And so I was like, well, I didn't have the experience. I knew what I didn't want to do. And so that was like the starting ground. And I had this idea. I was like, I wonder, like, I wanted to, like, I had this idea that I wanted to create a team for as long as I possibly could that existed, that, like, we had no one person that was really similar to somebody else. In a lot of ways. Personalities, like, I mean, there's so many different areas, because I was like, ultimately, I wanted our team to reflect the patrons that were coming in. And all patrons aren't all the same.
Agreed.
Greensboro's makeup is not all the same.
Agreed.
So I wanted our team to be as accurate a reflection of the city itself as possible, so that anybody can come in and see themselves behind the bar, or connect with somebody in a different way, or, I'm super extroverted, but not every patron is going to want to be
have a long conversation
about coffee. At 7 a.m. with this big welcome in,
exactly.
And that's just a funny example, but that variance. And so that's been a cool process that I've been really, myself and our other hiring manager have been really intentional with.
Nice.
Outside of that, I try to take a lot of time I try to curate interview questions that get more to the person. It's not so much the experience. And those questions have changed over the years.
Of course.
But dialing in, like asking them who their currently inspires them or they're influenced by.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just questions in those kind of lanes. What books are they currently reading? What hobbies do they have outside?
I feel like that
How
has
their
to throw
friends
them
describe
off.
them, you know? Like,
Yeah. If I was prepared for an interview and I was a barista, I would think like I need to know like all the different types of like coffees and like what you guys currently sell. I would be like trying to taste the different coffee brands and be like, well, this is the one I really like. So if you ask me what my book I was reading right now, I'd be like, wait, what? Like, is this like just a hangout or is it an interview? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've never worked.
Keep it chill.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But I mean, I also got asked a question by somebody I was interviewing early on, and I've used in every interview since then. They asked me, they're like, and I was like, do you have any questions for me? And they were like, yeah. Would you say, if you had to pick, are you a thumb, a backbone, or a big toe? And why? And I was just blown away by that question, just because it really, you have to be like, huh. And it tells a lot about how you see yourself. And so I use that one now in all the interviews, thanks to that person at the time. And so
that's interesting.
Yeah, fun little things like that.
So what was your response?
Ooh, I think at the time I had said a thumb because it's an integral part of the hand and all the fingers collectively, but it's not the most primary or the one that's seen the most.
Right.
And myself as a leader, I like to be a piece of what's happening and play a role that's important, but I also like to do that not from the front or not to be seen the most. I like other people to be seen more than me and promoted more than me. And so I think that was my answer at that particular moment. Yeah.
That was a good one. A thumb, a backbone, and what's the other one?
Big toe.
And a big toe. Man, that's a close call between the big toe and the thumb. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to figure it out. I agree. I think the backbone would probably have been like the easiest one to respond to, right? Like, I hold everything together, I support everything, but that is a big like muscle or a big group, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's big and it's like, I don't want to, like I'm holding everything together, but I am important, you know what I mean? So like the other two, it's like I'm important in an integral part of a much bigger picture. So like, it's hard to choose between those last two. I'm gonna have to think about that now, because that's a good one though. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Anything you want people to know that's happening with Union Coffee to come?
Great question. I mean, we have our cafe that we're working on at Revolution Mill. Hopefully we'll have that hopefully by the end of the year, but it'll be coming soon. It's going to be really awesome. That campus is incredible. It's a whole grouping of just different businesses that organically work together, and we're really excited to be part of that project and see where that goes. Outside of that, downtown is still the OG and where a lot of our time, energy, and focus is. And,
nice.
So we're always working on continuing to strive for excellence and to make sure that people's experiences is one like they've never experienced before. And I'm confident that that's going to continue to just get better as we go on, as the team continues to have opportunities to push that marker forward. So
awesome. Thank you, Daniel, for exchanging perspectives with me to expand our view here on Open View. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks.